So you've met your minimum spends, earned those bonuses, and are sitting on a hoard of credit card points, but now you don't know what to do with them. Or maybe you're stuck in the cashback purchase eraser stage of travel hacking and you want to take it to the next level. You want to score one of those crazy redemptions you see on social media, but you don't know where to start and are starting to wonder if it's even possible. Today we break down 3 ways to find the best redemptions and explain why it isn't just possible, but actually easy to get an Instagrammable deal.
Welcome to the Travel More podcast.
Each episode, we share custom itineraries, travel hacks, expert advice, and even stories of our past travel failures to help you level up your travel game.
I'm Shelly, a lover of plans, itineraries, and cheap flights. I'm an expert deal finder with one eye always on the budget.
And I'm Bruce, the improviser, ready to pick up where plans fail to turn letdowns into unexpected trip favorites. We're here to bust through barriers that stop you from making your travel dreams a reality.
So book that flight, buy the tickets, and say hello to your next adventure.
This is the Travel More Podcast. Welcome back to the Travel More Podcast.
Welcome.
All right.
I've given up. I've given up on getting on getting the intro.
I told you it'll never happen again.
Yeah, you get it. That's
and
fine.
And now we're deep into summer.
Yeah.
So good luck.
All right. So today's episode is maybe one of my favorite topics ever because it's this thing I get asked, by far the most of any other kind of travel hack or even honestly travel like tips in general.
Mm-hmm.
So we had an interview a couple of weeks ago, well, probably about a month or more ago now, with Julian Keel. And he is like, just a, I don't know, what's the word? My brain.
A points expert?
Yeah.
Points a mile
I had a
guru?
better saying in
Oh,
my
come
brain,
on.
but I can't remember.
It was there. It was like it got to your eyes and then it got sucked back down.
Yeah, and then it just fizzled away.
This is life after a baby.
Yeah,
This
she
is
took all
Shelley's
my brain matter. But in any case, Julian Keel is a points expert.
Yes.
So talking to him a few months ago or, whatever, was amazing. And he had like a lot of amazing information. But I felt like if you weren't already like pretty into points and miles that point, you may have gotten a little like lost in the sauce. So I'm having this episode where I kind of lay it out a little more like step by step, or at least like
kind of summarize some of the things. Yeah.
It's like 3 different options on how to do points and miles. So hopefully this kind of helps you. But this is still what I would consider more of like an intermediate points and miles.
Right. If you're not sure about redemptions or you don't understand how you even begin getting points and miles, you're going to want to go back to our first summer school episodes where we kind of do like our first travel hacking boot camp.
Yep.
And just get the basics. And the first episode you're going to look for is kind of like the lingo.
Yeah.
Where we define the terms to begin with.
Yeah. So if you get in this and you're like, wait a minute, what is a transfer partner? Yeah. Don't even keep listening. Just go back and find our other episodes and then come back to this one once you have a little more of a
this is second
foundation.
grade. You need to go back to first.
Okay. That feels mean.
I didn't mean it like that.
Okay.
Listen.
Well, anyways. So we have 3 like main kind of sections. So the very first one is the old-fashioned way. That's what I've coined this. And it is literally searching.
Make it sound like it's like before computers, the old-fashioned way.
Get out your
before planes.
Stone tablets. No, but it's literally just searching. So credit card points and miles. This is really tedious, the searching aspect of it, but it's really the only way that you're going to get like the good foundational knowledge to be really good at this.
Yeah, it takes time, but it's worth it, and you get better as you do it.
Yeah.
And if you just jump to trying to use tools and search engines and things like that, I just think it's going to be harder.
Yeah, well, it'll work, but like you're never really going to know what you're looking at or get the best redemptions. You'll get okay redemptions, but you'll never get the great ones. The great ones really, they come with time, and this hobby is not for everybody. If it was, it wouldn't exist. You know what I mean? Like the only reason that this exists is because it weeds out people who aren't willing to put the time in. And that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I mean searching, what I mean is, if you have a Chase Sapphire card, for example, and you have a whole bunch of Chase points, you would literally Google Chase transfer partners and you would see what airlines can I transfer these points from. And then you would make an account for every single one of those transfer partners. And I know that sounds terrible and it kind of is, but then it's done. You only have to do it once. And then you would go through and actually search like from your home airport to wherever you're trying to go and see how much things cost in business and how much they cost in economy or economy plus or, all those things. And you kind of just get a lay of the land and you start to see what airlines fly to what. cities and, how many point flights there are per day. Like, oh, this airline flies 10 times this route, but this one only flies once a week. You kind of start to see those patterns emerge. And you also see like alliances, like there are alliances within the airlines as well. So, you can book a Delta flight on Virgin for a lot less points than you can Delta typically. So you start to kind of see those things pop up as well. And you're like, oh, okay. So for example, for me, I have never once in my life before Points and Miles ever even thought about Air Canada. Like
That's
as a
in
company.
my mind. I was waiting to say this example. But
Yeah.
yes, go ahead.
No, but I just
Because when do we fly Air Canada?
literally never.
Never.
We have never flown Air Canada, and yet it is my very favorite way to book Points and Miles because of our airline. I mean, because of our airports. Like they
Yes.
just happen to have really good redemptions to go to Europe from JFK and Boston. So, and to JFK and Boston from Europe. And so I typically book all of my really good redemptions out of Air Canada. But we've never flown Air Canada still because we're booking them for Singapore Air and for Lufthansa, and so you start to see kind of these patterns emerge.
Right. I think that is the value of going the old-fashioned way first,
Mhm.
is you just start to know and have a sense of the relationships,
Yep.
both of like the airports, but also of your transfer partners.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start to see deals or other things kind of come through using other tools, you
Mhm.
remember and you're like, maybe I'll also go double check Air Canada.
Yes.
Because I've usually done that before. And I know that you might find, I'm trying to remember one of the first class flights that we saw like the same, literally you're buying the same seat on the airplane, but
Mhm.
you could buy it from like 3 different people.
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea.
So this was
That's what
business
we're
class,
talking
and
about.
I don't mean to correct you to be pedantic about it, but I only say that because first class is like a big deal in Lufthansa.
No, you're right. It is
So
business
this
class.
is business class, but yes, I booked Lufthansa on Air Canada for 60,000 points one way from like Munich, I think, to Boston. And if I had done it through Lufthansa, it was like 110 points per person, I think. And it's literally by Lufthansa. Like we're flying on a Lufthansa plane. But if I book it direct with them, it costs much more points than if I do Air Canada.
This
So,
is the
very
point where
strange.
when we started doing this, I didn't even begin to ask why.
Yeah, no, I don't
just
either,
like,
honestly.
okay, for whatever reason, depending on who you're buying it from, literally the same seat of the same flight, you're going to have different prices or different redemption rates.
It's literally, the answer to that is because different airlines use different like pricing models. Some do dynamic pricing where it's like how much is the price of the ticket and they have like a set amount that it costs per point. Some do by distance. Like that's really why. It's like which chart are they using? But
I thought I said I didn't ask why. I didn't. You can you can keep that knowledge.
oh my
Just
goodness.
tell me where I sit and when I get my champagne. That's all I need.
That you spilled all over yourself.
Don't tell people this.
The-
There's a secret between us. No, I'm
The-
kidding. I literally said it on the like a couple episodes
Yeah, you did.
ago.
But yeah, that was the very first. That's how
This is how you know I can't hang.
I was
Like I'm
gonna
not
say.
a first class passenger.
No, when we ever sit in business class.
They say, ma'am, is he bothering you? I think he belongs back in the back of the plane.
No, this does you definitely have, well, for us at least, have imposter syndrome every time we sit in business class. We're
Yeah.
like, I don't think we're supposed to be here, but we'll just keep sitting here to tell us no. But
My outfit brought to you by Target.
Yeah, right,
Like-
exactly. So anyways, the best time to do the searching is 11 months out from your suspected travel date. Or I don't know, 2 weeks out. Like those are the two options for whatever reason in Points and Miles. So if you aren't finding things that are at all good, you're like, I don't know what is happening, but I'm not finding anything. I'm not finding an economy seat for under 60,000 points, which is not very good. For to Europe. There's 2 things you can do to kind of help you get better searches. One of them is you can see if there are any transfer bonuses for your card. So this is another quick Google search. I also send them out in our biweekly newsletter, just what are current bonus transfers. So then that might get you a better deal than it looks like it is. You get 20%, transfer bonus from Chase, and that's 20% off essentially.
Right.
Your
So the price is more than you'd expect to be good, but it's discounted because
Yeah.
you're transferring from your credit card economy into the alliance or the loyalty program for the airline.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one option, but probably an even better tip is positioning flights. And this is where you kind of can get into the weeds a little bit. So stick with me. A positioning flight is when you fly to a different airport, essentially creating your own layover to get a better deal. So I'll give you a good example. If you're flying from Memphis, Tennessee, which is my hometown, it's a small airport. It's technically international, but like probably just a Cancun. So you want to get to Dublin, let's say. You can do a quick positioning flight to NYC or Boston, which you can probably get like a pretty good deal for. And then go Boston or JFK to Dublin. So like I already know, because we're literally doing this summer, that Boston to Dublin on Aer Lingus is 20,000 points. But you will like never find a flight for 20,000 points from Memphis to Dublin.
What's so strange about this too is that if you search Memphis to Dublin, you're not going to find this kind of like daisy chained deal.
No.
You're going to find a much more expensive, whether it's points or money, to get you there through some layover. So you're
probably in Boston.
Yeah, probably in Boston.
You're going to literally fly the exact same route, but you're going to pay 5 times as much because you're letting the airline like
dictate the terms. Yes.
do the layover as opposed to you doing it. So that is one. But actually where I think positioning flights work even better is when you're in Europe. So like if you're already in Europe or you're trying to get somewhere else in Europe, the flights like domestically within Europe are way cheaper than they are in the US. And so you can usually, if you can get to Europe, then you're golden. You can get pretty much anywhere for very cheap, either through just taking the train or taking another quick flight.
Right.
So again, this summer, we're doing Boston to Dublin for 20,000 points. And then we're staying in Dublin a couple of days and then going to Italy. And the Italy flight is like $150 per person, I think. And so that was a lot cheaper, even in points, than I could find from JFK or Boston directly to Italy. And we'd have a layover anyways. So you see what I'm saying? Like, it just made more sense to kind of add that on.
Yeah, and this is why a layover is like a dirty word in travel for people. They're like, oh, the layover, I have to wait. I'm like, no, but make your layover part of the trip.
Yeah.
Take control of your layover because you'll get so much more value. Yeah, I know. I think we
take control of your layover. That's a good one.
Take control of your layover.
Ooh, I kind of like that.
Yeah, I like it. There it is.
Coming soon.
Yes, coming soon.
So we're saying 3 days in Dublin just for fun. Because it was cheaper and that's cool. I mean, if you have the time, why not? And then just as another example, on the way back, we could not find good flights. I looked for so long for good flights from Italy back to Boston. Could not find any. And then finally, again, through Air Canada, I love Air Canada, I found Munich to Boston in business class for 60,000 points per person, which is kind of like my golden.
This is our second time now positioning to Munich.
No, first one was Frankfurt.
Oh, Frankfurt. I
Germany,
get them mixed up. But Frankfurt and Munich, I think maybe it's just because they're Central Europe.
Yeah.
That they're pretty big, like...
Well, because
transit.
Yeah, because, Frankfurt is a huge...
Frankfurt is big. It might be the biggest.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe.
Mainland
I'm
Europe?
not sure.
I'm
but
not sure.
Munich, I think, is Lufthansa's hub.
Yes.
So that's why Lufthansa was a big one for Munich. But in any case, we're flying 60,000 points. So then I had to get from Italy to Munich. And again, that flight was like $100. It was like not a big deal at all. It's an easy flight. And then we get to go business class as opposed to paying the same or more for an economy flight that we'll probably have to lay over somewhere anyways. Mm-hmm. So it just makes more sense. But again, that, as you can see, that would take a long time. But the more you do it, the more you kind of start to learn the hubs and where would be a good place to start to search for those positioning flights.
It gets quicker.
So yeah, you get it, but it does take a while. Okay, so the next thing, and then really quick, don't always just go straight to like domestic flights for domestic airlines. Like search everywhere, even domestic flights for international airlines. So for example, like searching Virgin Atlantic, which is obviously a international airline, for domestic US flights, because Virgin can book for Delta. But you may not know that, and that's okay if you don't know that, but you should still search it because then you'll learn it. There you go. And so you just don't
search and learn.
Yeah, just don't discount those international like airlines for domestic flights, because those are often actually the better ones to book for domestic.
And oddly enough, right?
I know, so weird. All right, the second option for you, if you don't want to just keep searching, or if you're kind of past that for now, is paid and not paid search tools. So another way to search for good redemption is through some of these services. Starting with paid services like Points.yeah and Award Tool are often considered kind of the best out there for like general searching. But they have a wide range of airlines and partnerships they cover. Both have a monthly fee, Point.me is great for the beginner. They often weed out phantom availability. So let's talk about what that means. So phantom availability is when you use one of those reward search engines, like the ones I just mentioned, and it says that there is like space on this airline for this point redemption for this flight, and there's not actually. So it's just because like the refresh rate and everything isn't instant. And so it sometimes shows availability that isn't actually there. That doesn't really matter as long as before you transfer your points in, you make sure you make sure that actually exists. Because as we all know, point transfers are one-way street. You cannot bring them back. So if you have transferred out to Air Canada from Chase, you cannot transfer back Air Canada to Chase. It stays in Air Canada forever and ever. So sometimes not a big deal. Like we've transferred too many points, I think, to JetBlue one time because we messed up, and that's okay because we use JetBlue quite often, so it's fine to be stuck there. But if we were doing it for like Aeromexico,
oh my gosh, yeah,
like
be very careful.
They'd be stuck
Iberia
forever.
Air, whatever was in Spain,
yeah,
places that you're not going to use often,
like they're stuck.
Yep.
So yeah, be careful before you transfer any points, especially if you're using those award search tools. Make sure that you actually confirm that those seats exist. So that's one big thing. If you get really nerdy, like this is like your, level 10 into airline partnerships, you can use seats.aero. It's the best tool there is, but it is way complicated if you don't know exactly what you're looking for. So that's not actually going to help you do easy searches, but it will give you the best way to find those like really hard to find seats, like Emirates first class and those like suites in the air that you see people get.
That's like a good if you've gotten to this point and you're literally looking to experience those crazy.
Yeah, it's like you don't even care where you're going.
No,
you just want to be on the plane.
Yeah, it'll help you find like the deal on getting that crazy lay down bed suite on a plane.
Yeah. That's like one where like I've literally seen like a couch. Like you have like your seat, you have a couch, you have a TV. It's insane. Like insane. I've actually seen one where the two seats were together, so it like created a double bed.
Yes,
so it's like you and your partner or whatever. That's wild. Another one that is a free tool, which you should just get this no matter what because it is awesome, is PointsPath. So that's what we talked to Julian Keel about.
Yeah, PointsPath is great.
It's free.
It's free.
It's a free plugin. And it shows you the cost of flights in points on Google Flights, which is my go-to.
That's what I like about the most because Google is our go-to for so many things, pretty much a starting place for searching for everything. But that's what's nice about it. It's not a separate website. It's a plugin. So once you have that, you're not only looking at the cost per dollar or whatever, but also points.
Yeah. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And just, I mean, I don't think we have to say this, but we're not paid by PointsPath. We're not even an affiliate for PointsPath. We just really like it. Yeah. So, anyway, so it's you have to go get it. I'll put it in the show notes, but it's definitely like a no-brainer. And then the third way, which I think is, like not talked about enough, is flight alerts. So there's a couple of ways to go about this. If I don't have somewhere specific in mind, honestly, I just have this going on in the background at all times. I do flight alerts. So my number one, our like ride or die here is Going, which used to be Scotch Cheap Flights. We love Going. No, we are affiliates for Going, but that's only because we love
Well, I feel like
them.
Going is kind of like PointsPath. It's just something you should use and have and figure out right now. Yeah. If you're not going to do anything else, Going is the best.
Yeah.
Because if you go back to this whole strategy of traveling more, letting the destination come to you is the best way to get your value.
Yes, absolutely. So there's a couple ways to use this flight alert. One is they actually have added like points alerts where they'll like tell you. Yeah, it is new.
Well, I guess
within the last couple of years. Yeah. I don't think that they've quite got that totally on lock, at least not in my opinion. I haven't found anything to book in points from those. I mean, I get them a lot, but I haven't booked anything from points. That being said, I don't think that's a bad alert system. I just haven't found one that works for me. The real, to me, money in Going is their cash alert system, which is just telling you how much flights cost like randomly.
Yeah, but that's where you get like mistake fares.
That's what I mean.
That's the
to me, this is the way. So even if you're thinking points and miles, let's give a real life example here. So we flew from New York to Paris for Christmas for $350 round trip because of a going alert.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the alert like on a Thursday in April. We booked it. We decided to go, literally on a whim. But if we use Capital One points to erase those at 1 cent per point, which is something you can do with Capital One miles, that'd be 35,000 points. And 35,000 points for a round trip flight to Europe is a good deal no matter what way you cut it.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And that's an easy one too, because you're literally just waiting. Your email pops open, you see the deal, you buy it, and then you do the purchase eraser to cover travel expenses. Way easier than doing all the other things we talked about.
Yeah.
So that's why it's such an entry level way to think about this.
Yeah, honestly, it's like if you're really serious about traveling more, you just gotta get the flight alerts because that's the way. And then another one that's new to me, but I've already used this is a free one, is Point Hound. Again, I'll link it down in the show notes. This is, I don't even know if you know this, but this is how we got our Panama flight. For Christmas.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
So Point Hound is an interesting service. They send, so you like put in your airport, whatever airports you want. I have 2 going. So I have 3. I have Hartford, I have Boston, and I have New York. So I have all 3 of those. And they send me a daily email for one of those airports. So it's not all of them. And they send it to me for random places. So they'll say like top business class flights from JFK to Africa. And I'm saying Africa on purpose because they always do continents. And then you click on it and it is literally the year in months. So it'll say like, June, and it'll have this month, what flights are the cheapest in points into what cities. And they don't tell you dates. They'll say like June, but they don't say like June 12th,
right.
And the next month, July, you can see the whole year and you can just see like what is the cheapest. So this works well for us.
Kind of a nice spread.
It is nice.
It's giving you across.
It's really random because I get like Africa today, South America tomorrow. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like they give you like a summarized world list. They give it to you per continent on random days.
Yeah, that's kind of, why is it so random?
I'm not sure. I mean, they go through all of them before they start again. So it's not like you get Europe 3 days in a row. You know what I mean? But that's just how their system works. I don't hate it. Again, it's a kind of a good way to start to see like what is a good price. Also, they rank the price. So they'll say like it costs, this actually, I was thinking about this recently, to Australia. There was like a good deal for like business class flights to Australia, and it was like 100,000 or 90,000 points, and they were like, "This is an 8.1 deal," and I was like, "Oh, well, that's
I like
expensive.
the ranking system."
Yeah, it is good.
I don't think anything else does that.
Not that I know of.
That's probably good for someone who's even new.
That's what I mean. It's good to see.
If you don't know if it's a good deal or not, especially if you think everything is super expensive. So you might think 60,000 points for like a Europe flight from JFK is a good deal when we know that you can get something much cheaper.
Right. Well, and then the other part of that is that they kind of show you top deals, but not all of them are good deals. And they'll still show you, but they'll be like, this is like a 3.
Right.
But it is a deal.
But it is what it is because that's what exists for that time.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's how I knew we wanted to go somewhere for Christmas. And so I just started looking at December for every email they sent us just to see what was there and found Panama.
That's how you found Panama.
So I really like Point Hound. Well, I mean, I still have it. So we'll see if it continues to give us good results. But it's free. So again, no harm, no foul, right? So I will put that down in the show notes. But those are my 3 biggies. One, everyone I think should just do some searching just to kind of get your feet in the water and see what you can learn. Just literally doing the nitty gritty searching. Flight alerts to me are a no-brainer. You might as well just have them going on in the background at all times. Maybe you'll find something good. Maybe you won't, but like, what's the harm? And then those search tools to me are a 50-50. PointsPath is 100%. You should have it because it's easy.
That's
and
an
it's
easy
free.
plugin. But the rest, I think,
depends.
Not necessary completely, but it also is depending on your level.
Yeah. Like if you know, for example, if today is your very first day doing points and miles and you have a honeymoon in a year and you just really want to use those to go on your honeymoon so you don't have time to learn points and miles this next year, then those can be really great tools. But then after you do that honeymoon, I would suggest starting over at the top.
Yes.
So they have their place for sure. But yeah, there you go. That is how I would start finding those amazing redemptions.
That's all we got for this summer school episode. We'll see you next week.
See ya. Did you know that every time you book a Disney or Universal vacation, you're paying for a service that you may not even be using?
Really?
That's right. Travel agent costs are added to your Disney or Universal vacation, whether you use one or not.
So you're telling me that I'm paying for something even though I'm not getting the help?
You got it. So next time you want to book a theme park vacation, make your money work for you. By booking with Magic Pass Travel, you'll get our expertise and years of experience without paying any extra and while supporting a small business.
Check out our show notes to find our contact information.
Can't wait to help you plan your next adventure.